What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How y'all doing? How's everything? It was a hell of a NBA playoffs last night. We had two beautiful games last night. One unbelievable and another one unbelievable in a different way. And one thing I can tell you about them Indiana Pacers, I told y'all about those Pacers, that those boys, what they did to Milwaukee gave them confidence and gave them a style and a belief of how they can play and win. It may not be pretty, it may not look good, it may not look, as traditional as everybody would like. But we got to start putting some respect on Haliburton's name, Tyrese Haliburton's name. We got to start putting some respect on that boy game because he's not the Steph Currys, he's not the Damian Lillards, he's not the traditional things that we wanted in a point guard. He's more of a point guard that's going to make the right play, but he's making the right play looking flashy. But then you got a play that you make the play where oohs and ahs, but sometimes his right play looks is unmatched. But what he did last night in that game, baby, man, it was unbelievable to watch. This is a great playoff game to watch. I looked at how day one, man, and I kept saying, these boys, they letting these boys back in the game. They letting these boys back in the game. And I kept looking at them, looking at the score. I'm looking at, I'm like, this don't seem right. You got Evan Mobley on the bench. You got Darius Garland on the bench. And, you got Jared Allen looked gassed out there. So you could tell the defense started to look at Jared Allen and say, oh, y'all, they getting gassed because you asking them to do too much. Jared Allen was asked to do a lot, but Evan Mobley took a lot of pressure off of him. So now he has to do a lot, and sometimes a lot is not good. Because, they put so much on Donovan Mitchell's shoulders. He had an unbelievable game, ladies and gentlemen. He lit the stat sheet up. I think he shot 15 for 30, 16 for 30, 19. So he had a good percentage at shooting. He had a great game overall, but broke down at the end. And sometimes it's the last 2 minutes that you have to look at. When them boys kept going up by 20, coming back down by 9, going back up, then you look at that dunk that Neesmith did coming back off the rim. That was great. That means that these boys were so locked in and they wanted to win this game. And Cleveland had a great season, man. My hat goes off to them. But at the end of the day, this is the playoffs. This is where you make your money. At the regular season is nothing. But I don't know what they're going to do when they get back to Indiana, but they got their work cut out for them. I don't know if Darius Garland and Evan Mobley is going to be back to where they can mean something, to where they can get back in this series, but I just can't see them winning 2 in a row in Indiana. I just can't see that, ladies and gentlemen. It was a tough, grueling series. Tough, grueling series for Milwaukee and Indiana Pacers, as far as it was a tough hill that they can get over. The hill of people saying last year, oh, they took advantage of injuries. This year, they can't say that. These boys is playing out their mind. Tyrese Haliburton, the way he danced the last game, doing the same thing. He's doing the same thing. You're putting the ball in his hand, and they have confidence that this guy is going to bring them to the promised land. And we always said, who could you put the ball in their hands in the last 2 minutes? And it's looking like Tyrese Haliburton is the guy, man. So that was a phenomenal game, man. Donovan Mitchell had a wonderful game, man. I give him that. He had a hell of a game, ladies and gentlemen. But at the end of the day, the Pacers, boy, I don't know, man. Maybe it was that time, Meta World Peace and them coming back. Maybe, I don't know, man. These guys is playing out of this mind, and I'm very lucky to see if they can win one of these games. If they can win one, oh, it's over. It's over. Indiana Pacers is going to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know who they're going to play, Boston or the Knicks, but if Boston keep playing from the three-point line, I believe they're going to be going home from the three-point line. At least it's closer to the locker room. At least they playing from a line that's actually closer to the locker room. Come inside the box, play in the box. If you're going to play from the three-point line, at least that's closer to the locker room for you to get there when this series is over. So if y'all going to continue, that's crazy. 45 missed free threes. It's crazy that for the Knicks won the game because y'all was on the other side of bad history. So the Knicks won a game because y'all choose to make bad history. 45 missed threes, a record. Missed threes in the NBA playoffs. So the Knicks won because y'all had to be on the other side of bad history to win. Imagine to be on some good history. You don't even gotta make history. Match the history. Be in line. You don't want to be on the other side of bad history, Boston. You understand? And you got your work cut out for you because you let Jalen Brunson looking confident. Jalen Brunson out there looking like the second coming of Allen Iverson, the second coming of Derrick Rose. You understand? He mixed with Derrick Rose. They got a little bit of Kyrie in him, a little bit of toughness with a little bit of Allen Iverson in him. You know what I mean? Got a little bit of a small tad bit of James Harden with the step back three. This guy is amazing, man. Jalen Brunson is amazing. He's a great guy, and that's crazy how Dallas is. That's another mess up that Dallas did. Dallas is just, oh my God. They just looking at the two guys that they gave up is just flourishing, ladies and gentlemen. But hey, we ought to see who won that series. But last night, let's talk about the Golden State Warriors, man. Steph Curry, man, my heart goes out to him. You know, it's like he wants. It's like man, it's like these old players. Like once you get to a certain age, man, it's like LeBron James went down with the hammy in 1 year. I think Devin Booker went out with the hammy 1 year. Kevin Durant, everybody's older players, this hammy is catching up with him. That's the reason why Chris Paul don't got a ring. His hammy caught up to him. And sometimes when you older player trying to get these rings, you just got to take care of your body more and more and more because it always come back to you in the playoffs. It always come back a hamstring, and that's the worst thing to catch in the playoffs. Your hamstring, because it could be a grade A out 2 weeks. Grade B, I think grade B or A, one of them is out 2 weeks, and then you got stage 2 is 4 to 6 weeks. But one thing about it, Draymond looked like he was playing like Antonio McDyess out there. I'm telling you, he looked like he was Glenn Robinson out there. I'm not even gonna lie, ladies and gentlemen. He looked like, oh my God, and I gotta tell the Timberwolves, this is not the Lakers. When you defend Draymond Green, you got to worry about your backside. With Luka, you didn't have to worry about that because Luka going to dribble. Everybody going to watch him, stand and watch and see where he put the ball or drive and throw the lob. You already knew that was tailor-made. But when you guarding Draymond at the top of the key and you giving him that much room, he was told he's practicing threes every day. Because you're going to lag off them. I told you when you lag off of people that can pass like that and you let them see the whole field, they're going to pick you apart. When you played Luka, you had to get up on him. But you playing Draymond Green, the Draymond Greens and the Rajon Rondos, that's what made them their bread and butter because you playing off of them, giving them so much room. Where they not only that they can run behind you, a person can run in front of you and split you. You giving Draymond too much room, and that's what's hurting you. This is not, the Lakers. The Warriors wake up every morning. You know what the first thing they looking for? A switch. To either turn on the light or switch on defense. That's the first thing they looking for in the morning when they wake up. Let me look for the switch to turn on the light. Because this is not Luka, Anthony Edwards. When you switch, it's not Luka, it's not Austin Reeves, it's not a 40-year-old LeBron James. It's these guys. These guys is defensive minded, the grit, the toughness, and they understand what they have to do to get there. All of them as a whole, Draymond, because the difference between the Lakers, y'all actually got people that actually been in the championship and won. The Lakers got only one they had that had a champion was LeBron James. You know what I mean? So they got Steph Curry champion, Draymond Green champion. You know what I mean? Jimmy Butler went to the championship. He's not a champion. You know what I mean? Steve Kerr, championship coach. Know what it takes. Know how to defend the X and O's. He took a book out of Greg Popovich's book last night. He played everybody. He beat them by a unit, and they all had a part to play. A defensive minded. You're not going to do the switches on them, Anthony Edwards. You're not going to get a bad switch arm, Julius Randle. That's not Austin Reed behind you. You're not going to grab a million rebounds. Kevin Looney is going to be sticking right there. Steve Kerr is going to make sure it's a big on him. So, you know what I mean? Did Steph Curry go out? Draymond Green came up, stepped up. All them boys played. They stepped up to the defense. And they did a great job last night. I give my hats off to Golden State. But we're going to see what's going on with Steph Curry. And we hope that, he come back sooner than later. That's all I, worried about Steph Curry. I hope he come back and do his damn thing, because without him, yes, they may can go to the next round, but I don't think they can get any further without Steph Curry. So my heart goes out to Curry. I hope you get well soon. I hope this injury is minor, and I hope you get back on the court sooner than later. Because this is a great game. It was a great game. It was low scoring. It was grit. Jimmy Butler made some unbelievable shots. You know what I mean? It was just crazy. And then Buddy Hield. Oh my God. Buddy Hield looking like Buddy Thompson. I don't know if that's Buddy Hield or Buddy Thompson, ladies and gentlemen. Is this Buddy Hield or Buddy Thompson? I don't know. This looking like Buddy Thompson. He looking like the second coming of Klay Thompson. I don't think the Golden State is missing that trade either. I don't think they feel bad. I don't think they at this point. I don't think they're missing that trade, because Buddy Hield out there looking like Buddy Thompson. I'm not even gonna lie to you, ladies and gentlemen. He's out there looking out like Buddy Thompson. But shout outs to Golden State. They won, and I don't know what's going to happen next game, but I know the defense is going to play a part. Minnesota going to come back and have some adjustments. I'm going to just come back and see how they play. I believe this is going to be a long series. And if Steph Curry do have to sit out some games, thank God they put one game in the bag to where they got a throwaway game. And then they got another throwaway. Got two throwaway games, because you got 2-1, and then bring Steph Curry back in the third game where they could win 1 out of 3. I think if they could go and win 1 out of 3 and Steph Curry take about 3 games off and it's either 3-2 or 2-2, I believe, Steph Curry could be back if the injury is not as such bad as everybody, because I seen Draymond Green face and said, he looked a little, concerned. That's what I'm saying, to say the word concern. And I know we heard more big news this morning. Pittsburgh traded George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys for some draft picks, right? Now, that's a huge trade for the Dallas Cowboys, because one, CeeDee Lamb get another number 2 receiver on the side of him, and Dallas get to stretch the defense a little bit more. Maybe they could try out a tight end. Maybe you don't have to put 8 in the box to where a defense can, got to play back. You got to bring them safeties back now, because you got George Pickens, and that opens up the running game of whoever runs for the Cowboys. The Cowboys, they buffering up their offensive line. I like what they did there. But, it's very optimistic for you Dallas fans. But you got George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. Get you a great tight end. Go get your tight end. Get you a great one. Go get you a mediocre tight end that that can thrive in your offense. Go get you you need a all right tight end. Because at the end of the day, that tight end is going to eat, because them 2 wide receivers is going to take them safeties back, and your Your tight end could go one-on-one with the linebackers, or your running back could go one-on-one with the linebackers, or your tight end could go one-on-one with the safety. At the end of the day, when you got two wide receivers like that. So compliments for Jerry for pulling the plug. Then, normally Jerry don't live in a draft. Normally Jerry don't deal with the draft. But I'm kind of shocked that Jerry did go on the draft, but he did say watch and see. So I think the Dallas Cowboys is formidable. But at the end of the day, with the Philadelphia 76ers and the Washington Redskins, and I don't know about that division. So that's going to be a tough division soon. With them Giants coming up, I think there's going to be a little tough division because the Giants they drafted, I don't know how, Dart is, but from what I'm hearing around, his upside is crazy. So if Jackson Dart is what everybody claimed to be, where he was the number 2 quarterback on most people's boards, so they say, if that's the case, then his upside is great. So maybe that division is going to be crazy, ladies and gentlemen. But the Michael Parsons, if it was me, I probably would have traded Michael Parsons and did what Herschel Walker did, what Jimmy Johnson did with, Herschel Walker. You know what you can get from Michael Parsons? You can get the house and a hill. You probably could be a contender, but at the end of the day, Jerry didn't want to pull that plug. Then you got Schottenheimer. He can't go tell Jerry. Jimmy Johnson was he made that trade to get rid of Herschel Walker. And that was a piece. So Jimmy Johnson came in today. I believe Jimmy Johnson would want to trade Michael Parsons, but that's another story because you got them 2 wide outs. At the end of the day, let's throw it out on you later. You rushing along, we can do our offensive line, and I think they should have went in there and tried to trade it for Kyle Pitt or somebody with Atlanta. You get Kyle Pitt over there, man, it would have been crazy. But I know Kyle Pitt gonna help Pence Jr. over here. So shout out to Pence Jr. his second year with Atlanta. I'm thrilled to see what he's going to do in his second year. But this trade this morning, Adam Schefter reported from ESPN. Shout out to him. Shout out to Adam Schefter because he gives us all the great news and we get it from him first. So shout out to him for breaking that news. You can check his reports on his website, Adam Schefter. Check out his Instagram account. You'll get more stuff that he puts out there. Adam Schefter, check him out on Instagram. Shout outs to First Take. Shout outs to Get Up in the Morning. Shout outs to the facility. Shout outs to Nick Wright. Shout outs to Chris Broussard. Shout outs to Wiles. I love y'all show. First Things First. Shout outs to Fact Facility. Shout outs to CBS Sports. Shout outs to Carmelo Anthony for getting picked up by NBC. I know you're going to be a proud dad. At the same time, you're going to be a wonderful commentator, so I'm looking out for that. Great job, Carmelo Anthony. NBC got a great guy. So I want to shout out you for that. But overall, these NBA playoffs has been unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to be bringing more back to you. This is Mr. 444 Sports, Business, and Finances. We're here. We talk sports and business and finances. And I'm going to be giving it to you all year round. It's Mr. 444, ladies and gentlemen. If y'all have anything, leave it in the comments. You would like to come up on my show and debate with me and everything and talk sports, I'm more open to it. So at the end of the day, we had 2 great games, and tonight make sure you tune in for the Knicks in Boston and and see what we gonna do. Make sure y'all tune in to the NBA, and it's gonna be fun tonight. So after that, I love y'all. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Thank you for helping me get there, and I just want y'all to know I love y'all, and y'all stay up and one great